Adam Egypt Mortimer's latest horror entry, Daniel Isn't Real, is a roller coaster ride of fantasy and horror that will keep you guessing until the final moment. But sometimes on a wild ride, less is more, tension is key, and the details can sometimes confuse the message. Hi, my name is Emma, also known as Spooky Astronauts. I do 2 new horror videos every single week. If you want to figure out what you're going to watch this weekend without it being spoiled, or you want to go deep dive into a discussion about horror movies, this is the channel for you. Hit subscribe, and if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. The story follows Luke, a boy who welcomes an imaginary friend by the name of Daniel into his life. Daniel shows up when Luke is just a child and he experiences a traumatic event. But many years later, he resurfaces when Luke is in need of help again. The film walks on a tightrope between mental health and fantasy, sometimes getting lost between the two. Daniel's mother also suffers with schizophrenia, which is a key part of the story, but viewers may find themselves getting a little bit lost in the details, instead of seeing the unique aspects that allow this film to shine. The film is based on the Brian D. Lew's novel In This Way I Was Saved. The film is a modern, low-budget adaptation which relies heavily on the performances of Miles Robbins as Luke and Patrick Schwarzenegger as Daniel. The situations that both the characters experience and bond over are extreme and dark, and this pushes the performances to the edge. This is where things become a little bit tangled. Not only do we have 2 strong leads with extensive backstories, we have 2 love interests, a psychologist, and a struggling mother. All of these are demanding characters that are used to explain Luke's character's progression. They're kind of used as an example to show how bad things truly get for Luke. But with so many characters, it becomes a little bit messy. Because there are so many strong characters in this film, they really take away from the main message. And they also take up a lot of time in the film. I feel like the second act was completely stretched out because we were introduced to so many characters that had very individual, detailed backstories, and they were all there to show Luke's progression, but they do take away from the main story because instead of spending time with Luke, the time in the second act is spent bouncing between these characters, these 5 or 6 characters, back and forth. And no time is spent building tension up to the third act, which is so sad because it's what makes this film so unique. For me, I found that these characters were a complete distraction, and for you guys, this might be where the film loses you. It became so messy trying to recreate the story and add in so many details that it lost its main point. The third act really brings the story back together, and you can tell why it was picked to adapt to screen because of this. The film starts off being very predictable, and so predictable that it makes you kind of puzzled that people are talking positively about this film. I have to say it. I was very confused. And then it morphs its message completely, and this is where the magic comes in. But by this time, I feel like you got lost in the details of every man and his dog in this movie, and the impact of the message is completely lost. Besides all of this, the look and the feel of the film relies heavily on CGI to give the film a very big fantasy feel. If you're not a fan of fantasy modern horror, then this film is not for you. It's packed full of imagination, but it does not hold back and reveals everything to the audience. When the credits rolled for this film, I was split. I was feeling inspired but let down by the execution. The film carried so much weight for a lower production film that it felt forced. And sometimes less is more. This is one of those films that is great if you're into unique ideas and imagination, and if you're not too focused on production quality or performance. The film offers everything up to its audience and doesn't leave any time or space for tension building. I also feel like it does its actors a disservice by rushing through the performance to pack in the most for a 1 hour and 36-minute runtime. If more was left up to the imagination and the focus was on Daniel alone, I feel like this film could have been great. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10 for personal score. Not great, not bad. It had potential, it just didn't get there. I'm gonna give it a 2 for scare score. Not so scary, but I'm also gonna give it a 7 for originality. I really liked where this film went. It just took a long time to get there, and it was a very confusing ride. Roller coasters can be good, but sometimes they can be confusing at the same time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, now is a great time to do so. Also, let me know what you guys think of Daniel Isn't Real if you've seen it down below. Let me know if you're gonna watch it or if you're not gonna watch it this weekend. It just came out on VOD, so let me know down below. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.